Throughout Algebra 1, and in fact your upper level math classes, you will be learning about many different functions. And in fact, we've already learned a lot about a particular function, which is a linear function. We just didn't know what functions were yet. Every function family has a parent function, meaning the simplest function within that family that shares the shape of that family. So every linear function has a graph that is a straight line. Ooh, straight line. So the graph or the shape of every linear function is a straight line. So the parent function is the simplest linear function that is a straight line. And that's going to be the function rule f of x equals x, which we would have written as y equals x before we knew function notation. Y equals x just means the value of the output f of x is the same as the value of the input. If the input's -3, the output's -3. Input is -1, output is -1, and so on. Input is 2, output is 2. This also means that my rate of change is 1, my start value is 0, and I can see that from the table. +1, +1, +1, start value of 0. My graph is just going to be the straight line through the origin with a slope of 1. I can graph that either by directly plotting these points from the table, or I can use everything I learned in my linear unit. Start value of 0, slope of 1. When x goes up by 1, y goes up by 1. Let's see if I can, oh goodness. All right, well there's my line. I don't know why it's red, but of course it needs to have arrows. And this is my graph of my parent function, f of x equals x. One thing to note is that every single graph or linear equation that we looked at was a linear function with the exception of all of my vertical lines. So like x equals 3. If I would have graphed, let's do it in red since I did that here. If I would have graphed x equals 3, that is a line. I can write an equation, but it is not a linear function because this fails the vertical line test. This is not a function. So vertical lines were linear, but they are not linear functions. It's just a little exception to keep in mind. The domain of every linear function is all real numbers. We go forever to -infinity, forever to +infinity in the horizontal direction, going left and right. We also go forever up and forever down, so the range is all real numbers. The exception would be a horizontal line of the form f of x equals b. Here, the range would just be whatever that particular value of b is. So y can't be anything here. It's not all real numbers. It's just that one particular value of y. And notice a horizontal line is a function. It does pass the vertical line test. A characteristic of a linear function is that it is increasing or decreasing at a constant rate of change. It has a constant slope, and that's what makes it a straight line.